Rain poured on the quiet streets that night, washing away the noise of the city but not the tension that hung in the air. A single father named Ethan Cole, a former soldier turned security guard, was finishing his late shift outside a private downtown club. His uniform was soaked, his back ached, and all he could think about was getting home to his 10-year-old son, Mason, who was waiting with leftover dinner and an old superhero movie. Just as Ethan reached for his bike, a black SUV screeched around the corner, headlights cutting through the rain like knives. Behind it, sirens blared, police cruisers chasing fast. The SUV spun, lost control, and stopped just meters from Ethan. The driver's door flew open, and out stepped a woman in a torn evening dress, her heels in her hand, eyes wide with fear. She looked like someone out of place, a billionaire, maybe. The kind of person Ethan only saw in magazines. "Please," she gasped, her voice trembling. "They're not who you think they are. Please help me." Ethan didn't ask questions. He saw the panic, the bruises on her wrist, and the desperation in her eyes. Instinct kicked in, the soldier in him woke up. He pulled her behind the security booth just as the cops arrived, their flashlights cutting through the dark. "You seen anyone run by?" one officer shouted. Ethan hesitated for half a second, then shook his head. "No one came this way," he said firmly. His tone was steady, his stare colder than the rain. The cops cursed, turned back to their cars, and drove off. The woman collapsed against the wall, shaking. Ethan gave her his jacket, not realizing that his single act of protection would change his life forever. By morning, the story was all over the news. Billionaire tech heiress Isabella Grant had gone missing after an alleged kidnapping attempt. Ethan nearly dropped his coffee when he saw her picture. The woman from last night. The one he had hidden. He looked out the window of his small apartment. Mason was laughing, eating cereal, innocent to the world. Ethan wondered if the police would come. He had no idea he'd just protected one of the most powerful women in America. That afternoon, a convoy of black cars pulled into the narrow street of his worn-down neighborhood. Neighbors peeked through curtains as sleek, shining luxury vehicles, Bentleys, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, lined the block. And in the center, a silver Rolls-Royce door opened, and Isabella stepped out. Ethan froze. Mason ran to the window shouting, "Dad, are those cars for us?" Ethan smiled nervously. "No, buddy, I don't think so." But they were. Isabella walked straight up to him, no makeup, no cameras, just gratitude in her eyes. "You saved me," she said softly. "You didn't even know who I was." Ethan shrugged. "Didn't need to. You needed help, that was enough." She smiled, a tired but genuine smile. "The world needs more people like you. And I intend to make sure your son never has to see you struggle again." She waved her hand, and from the convoy, men began unloading boxes, clothes, groceries, electronics. Then one of them handed Ethan a set of keys. "For you," Isabella said. "And one more thing." Behind her, a truck revealed a brand new SUV, customized and armored, the kind usually reserved for dignitaries. Mason gasped. "Dad, it's like the ones in the movies." But Ethan was speechless. "Ma'am, I can't." "You can," she interrupted. "Because sometimes, the people who protect others deserve to be protected too." The neighborhood erupted with whispers. Everyone knew Ethan had been struggling for years. He worked 2 jobs, slept 4 hours a night, and still barely made rent. Yet he never complained, never quit. Isabella didn't stop there. The next week, she called him again, not as a benefactor, but as a friend. "Ethan, I'm rebuilding my private security company. I want someone I can trust to run it. Someone who doesn't just guard people, but values life like you do." Ethan hesitated. He hadn't led men since his military days. "I don't know if I'm." "Yes, you are," she said. "Because leadership isn't about power. It's about heart. And you've got more of it than anyone I've met." He took the job. Slowly, life changed. Mason got into a good school. Ethan started training other veterans who were lost after service, giving them purpose again. And every evening, he'd drive home in his SUV, waving at the kids on the block who once mocked his old rusty bike. One night, months later, he sat on his porch with Isabella after a charity event. She looked at him and said, "You know, when I ran into you that night, I thought my life was over. But you showed me there are still real heroes left, just not the kind in uniforms." Ethan smiled. "Heroes? I don't know about that. I just did what was right. Isabella nodded, watching Mason chase fireflies. Sometimes, that's exactly what makes someone a hero. The camera fades out there, Ethan's quiet smile under the stars, his son's laughter echoing in the background, and those once flashing police lights replaced by the glow of peace.